Yo, it's your boy Dctree, and this is Dctree-Nation, where we cover hoops and heroes. And today we're talking heroes. Today we're talking the King of Wakanda, y'all. And I'm back with another Black Panther 2 theory video. And I'm here thinking about one of the biggest mysteries in the MCU right now. What the heck was happening in Wakanda for those 5 years during the snap? Without T'Challa, without Shuri, what type of place was Wakanda? You know, was it ruled by a certain person? Was it ruled by this person? Was it civil war? What was going on? So I wanted to make a video to theorize on what I think was going on. Okay, now I'm gonna go over a few different ideas, not just one. But first off, the first idea I want to talk about is the possibility that Imbaku could be the ruler of Wakanda. Okay, I mean, at the time, he's probably one of the strongest fighters in Wakanda. He's well respected. He's on that little Wakandan council that was showed at the end of the first film, after him and T'Challa kind of befriended each other after they overthrew Killmonger together. So I mean, he would be the ideal choice if you are looking for a king, in a sense, just based off of, you know, the characters of the first movie. But remember, the Jabari tribe have a completely different philosophy on the perspective, or the direction, I should say, that Wakanda should go in. Remember, they don't believe in technology. They don't even use vibranium. They use like wood, you know, for their armor. They're more animalistic, okay? You know, the whole white ape thing, you know, kind of reflects Imbaku. He's very different in the movie than he is in the comics. He's a bona fide villain in the comics. But if this situation where he becomes king, maybe becomes drunk with power, T'Challa comes back, then maybe he can kind of go back to those comic roots of being a pure villain, okay? Because, I mean, don't get me wrong, it doesn't take much, especially when you're dealing with superheroes and villains, to become a villain. It really doesn't take much. So this may be his opportunity to be a bad guy. And even the actor Winston Duke has said he wishes that Imbaku will come back in Black Panther 2 as more of a villain. And that's a big possibility. So you have to think about that as probably the number one possibility of who was ruling Wakanda. But not the only one, but probably one of the more popular ones. Okay, the second choice is less likely, but it's something that should be explored. The idea that the Queen, T'Challa's mother, you know, Queen Mother, took over the throne while T'Challa and Shuri were gone, okay? Now, for her to do that, she's going to have to fight in Warrior Falls and be able to hold back the other tribes. Now, Angela Bassett is probably one of the best people for this role if it goes that route, because she's physically fit, and I can see her pulling like a Xena warrior princess and fighting for 5 years to keep the other tribes at bay. Okay, now that's kind of less likely that she's be able to take on these, you know, younger warriors, but it's plausible, because remember, now this isn't Britain, this isn't Queen Elizabeth, this is Wakanda. So you know, Queen Mother can, you know, she can fight, okay? Because remember, she almost sliced off Agent Ross' neck that one time. In the first movie, she had that knife ready to go. So it's a possibility that she's going to be able to do that and hold her own. And then, if she really wanted to, she could just pull a Palpatine off of Star Wars and just refuse to give up her power, refuse to give up the throne. I mean, she has the loyal army, she has all the technology, she has Nakia, she has the Dora Milaje. You know, those guys basically kind of bent the rules when they turned on Killmonger before the Warrior Fall fight was completed anyway. So we've already seen that the Dora Milaje, they're capable of, you know, of switching their allegiances if Okoye is leading, okay? So they could try to hold everyone else back until they figure out what they're going to do as far as having a royal, you know, successor to the throne or whatnot, okay? So I mean, either you can make her a fighter or you can make her, you know, a politician. Either way, it can work, you know, with her, you know, holding things down in Wakanda. Now this is kind of plausible, because if you remember at the end of Endgame, but at the end of Endgame, you know, it shows Queen Mother with Shuri, with T'Challa, looking over what seems to be a peaceful Wakanda. So I don't know if that means anything. That could have just been an anecdote they put at the end of the movie. Could mean nothing. It could easily be, totally different by the time we get to Black Panther 2. But, because we only have that to work with, only that information to work with, maybe she did rule Wakanda during the snap. And the last theory of who's ruling Wakanda during the snap is no one. No one is ruling Wakanda during the snap. It's just straight civil war, which would make a lot of sense if you really think about the first film and coming off of that, okay? Think about it. Wakabi is likely still alive. I don't see them executing him. He's probably in some type of prison. If he finds out that T'Challa is dead, he's going to do his best to try to take over, okay? The border tribe is still around, okay? Now, they were very present in Infinity War, so they're still around. But you know how that goes. They probably have some people that are still loyal to Wakabi and will be willing to follow him to try to overthrow any type of opposition in Wakanda, okay? So you have, Wakabi trying to do his thing, trying to take over. You have Imbaku trying to do his thing, trying to take over. And you got Queen Mother. She's trying to maintain some type of normalcy in Wakanda. And all these moving parts are just fighting each other for 5 years. I mean, Wakanda is really on the edge of probably war anyway because of the decisions T'Challa has made. If you think about the comics, A Nation Under Our Feet by Ta-Nehisi Coates, he kind of plays around with this idea that the people of Wakanda are getting more and more frustrated with T'Challa's, outside dealings with the world, okay? Think about it now. It went from being unknown, living in paradise, to being killed by Thanos, essentially. Now, that would have happened regardless because we know the power of the Infinity Stones, but they don't know that, In their minds, they're thinking, hey, we were in secret, then T'Challa exposed us to the world, and then all of a sudden, a couple years later, the Infinity War breaks out, and we lose half of Wakanda. We lose all type of, we lose our king, we lose our princess, we have an older queen. It's civil war in the streets. Wakanda is being torn apart. Man, this has happened in the comics somewhat in Ta-Nehisi Coates' run with the whole Zenzi situation. She manipulates the feelings of men, brings out their negative feelings. They try to overthrow T'Challa. T'Challa's looking at them like, all right now, y'all better back up. I'm about to break y'all off. And then T'Challa, he's breaking off a bunch of minors, man. If you haven't read that comic, you probably should. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be an inspiration for this movie, Black Panther 2. Because one, it's just too much material to ignore. And it just fits so well with the situation in the MCU. T'Challa being the younger king. T'Challa, breaking all the traditions or whatnot. T'Challa dying and then all of a sudden coming back, okay? So it has to be some type of backlash that goes along with that, okay? So my personal vote is Civil War in Wakanda. Civil War. I want to see bodies flying. I want to see them going back and forth. And I want the king to return and bring peace back to the country with force, man. It'll make for an interesting movie, most definitely. Alright guys, that's it for this one. If you like these type of videos, let me know in the comment section so I can get to work. Check out some of the other superhero videos I got here on the channel. And again, thanks for the support. Thanks for watching. And take it easy out there. Peace.